Yeah, making a response video to a zombie picture show video, mostly, partially. The controversial philosophy guy did do a response to him, and yeah, it's all very polite and all that kind of crap, but I just don't see the point of this. I mean, there's a point where you just got to say this is just too ludicrous a premise that you can't have a conversation with somebody in this environment. I mean, why have the pretense of having a philosophical conversation that is based on a ludicrous premise? I mean, this is almost like, I don't know, having a conversation with members of NAMBLA or something. It just doesn't really make any sense to me. My voice is different. I don't know what that is. Well, anyway, we'll go with it. It's not altogether horrible. It is different. So anyway, so I'm going to jump to 5 minutes or so into this from what I remember. That's when it really gets insane.
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, well, you've been... So anyway, so he titles it this, you know, he's always so arrogant about this. I suffer versus monkey brains equals you be wrong. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. And look at this, 12 likes, no dislikes. And this video is a steaming pile of shit. You know, whatever. Nature and nurture. I don't even know why deterministic one. What good is? Why don't you just say, what the hell do you fucking goddamn mean? There's no such thing as suffering. Why are you making videos on the internet if that's what you think? I mean, why are you suggesting that anybody do anything? Why would anybody do a goddamn thing about a goddamn thing if they didn't think it mattered that suffering matters? Suffering is the core reason why you make food safe to eat. It's the core reason why you make nuclear power plants not melt down. There's no reason you do a motherfucking thing. That's why you put guardrails on roads, is to prevent suffering. That's why every single fucking thing we do on this planet we do to prevent suffering. It's a ludicrous premise for you to make a video stating that this is the premise of my philosophy. There is no such thing as suffering, therefore there's nothing to worry about. Everything's just fine on planet Earth. I mean, this is nonsensical as a premise. It's nonsensical as a philosophy. It's ludicrous, incoherent drivel. And I'd like to know who these 12 people are. I mean, who the fuck are you, whack jobs? So let me just play this part.
Really bad. Pain really bad. Is hurt or harm really bad? I don't think it is. I think just suffering, hurts, pain is a victim of happenstance, of existing. It's not really bad or positive or negative. It just is. The exist.
Yeah, it just is. So yeah, you know, again, so he's saying there's no way to moderate it, there's no way to control it, there's no way to lessen it, there's no reason to do it because it just is. It isn't good or bad. He said those words. I mean, is there some other way to interpret this? He doesn't think harm exists. He doesn't think there's any good or bad. I mean, he doesn't think there's anything that could be qualified as a value. So it just doesn't matter how many things get harmed. It doesn't matter what happens to anything. I don't understand why anybody would make videos on the internet suggesting anything then, or pretending that something matters if you're saying nothing matters. I mean, I mean, you can't, in my opinion, right? You can't debauch anymore. This is as debauched as you can get as a thinking device. You cannot be more broken, in my opinion, as a thinking device than to sit there and deny the existence of qualitative sentient states and their significance. If you can't see the difference between happy child eating cupcake and child having seizure and make a qualitative distinction and say, yes, one state is preferable over the other state, one is good, one is bad. If you can't do that, I frankly, I just don't know how you qualify as competent. Yeah, I mean, you should be declared as insane. That's insane. I'm sorry. It is fucking insane.
Existence. The happenstance of this existence that we have suffering. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's not a happenstance, right? We know that Bhopal happened because somebody said, let's cut some corners. Oh, they're just people in India. Who cares if they get a little bit gassed? We know there's not. This shit doesn't happen by happenstance. Of Global warming won't happen by happenstance. This isn't happenstance. They're deliberate, willful choices. We can decide to do things the right way or we can decide to do them the wrong way. And the consequence will be more suffering or less suffering. There's no happenstance here.
So I don't see that as a negative result or a positive result. I just see it as is.
Yeah, so cancer just as is, flu just as is, polio just as is. We shouldn't have vaccines. We shouldn't cure anything. We shouldn't change anything because everything just as is. What the fuck does this mean as a philosophy? How can people pretend that this is rational, that I should be rationally interacting with something this fucking preposterously ludicrous? This is not within the boundaries of rational space to have this conversation. This is a ludicrous fucking premise.
So listening to the self based on suffering, blah blah blah, it's not logical because the self is not logical. But there are some neuronal synapses going on now, and you think, wait a minute, suffering, I think it's really bad, you say to yourself. So that is your conscious thought, making it presence itself. It's not the same as consciousness, but your conscious thought acts logically. Says, you know what, seeing the world is not I'm not putting any feeling involved, but look at the world, it's shitty. But what is shitty? What is the word that you give? What is the part that you give that word? Shitty. So your conscious thought is your logic. And not a lot of people listen to it. Because the ones in your psychology are so strong that, hey, just silence the conscious thought. For example, one more cigarette. I'm going to cheat on my wife just this once, get it out of my system, and just because this one is so.
This is just insane, right? There's no coherent response to this mumbo jumbo. All right, let's see what he said. I mean, I should have just ended it where it was because this is just rambly, bambly bullshit. But somehow, I guess he's going to mean that somehow it doesn't matter whether you cheat on your wife because it's just happenstance. But let's hear it.
Strong. I think your psychology doesn't need for anything, but it creates you. The self creates the needs, the illusion of the needs. It's all wants. There's no need. It's just.
Oh, whatever. We can get into that crap forever, too. I mean, let's just use the word for the things that are really urgent to your welfare, things that are going to have dramatically uncomfortable states of being. We could call that a need. And we call wants the luxury items, the things you really don't need. If you just moderate your behavior or your expectations a little bit, you don't really need it. You don't have to be hysterically upset if you don't have a Lamborghini.
Wants. You want for a better wife. You want to have sex and have children. Wants, never needs. Wants, never needs. I think it's just the illusion of needs that you have stored in your hippocampus as a need to be satisfied. So once the satisfaction is complete, that need will go away. And your hippocampus.
Yeah, we know that doesn't work either, right? You need to eat every day. You need to have sex over and over and over again. If you have sex, it doesn't say, oh, there, I've done it. I've finished it. I don't have to do it anymore. It doesn't work that way.
Sees that, takes that picture and says, you know what? This is a good picture. Positively marked because I know that my need will be satisfied or brain need will be satisfied. Is that logical? But your conscious thought gives way to the what ifs. But it is all about how you view the words, the world and these words. Everything that is real, which is the case. The world is everything that is the case. The world is a totality of facts and not of things.
I mean, I thought there'd be another remark about suffering, but let's see if there is.
What are facts? Are facts just words that make sense to us because of our senses? Think about that.
No.
It is based on your upbringing that you give powers to these words. Is suffering really bad? No. Is pain really bad? No. Is suffering good? No. It's just a happenstance of this existence.
Okay, so there, you heard it again. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just a happenstance. I mean, this just doesn't mean anything. It's just ludicrous premise. The only reason why we prevent car accidents, the only reason why we do, like I said, I mean, you go down the list. The only reason why we do these things is because if we don't do them, more suffering will be incurred. That's the perception. That if you do these things, less suffering will be endured. And that's a good thing. That's why everything that anybody advocates, everything, just about 99% of anything that's ever talked about on the YouTube or talked about in any political circumstance or any other circumstance, is always a balance of trade-offs between who suffered. So do we make the taxpayer suffer, or do we have health care, or we do this, or we do that? There are always balances between these welfare states that do fucking goddamn matter. It does fucking goddamn matter. It's idiotic to say it doesn't matter. It's idiotic to say we can't tell the difference between good things and bad things. We know the difference between good things and bad things. Dioxin in the water is a bad thing. Kid playing on a playground is a good thing. Yeah, we can figure out which one to subsidize and which one to support and defend and talk about and promote. I mean, it's not that fucking complicated, and this is an idiotic video, and I don't know how 12 idiots could like this fucking piece of shit of a video. It doesn't make any goddamn sense, and it's just time to say it doesn't make any goddamn sense. This isn't rational conversation. This is bibble babble, and you people are motherfucking crazy. Because I cannot have a serious intellectual conversation with this kind of fucking mush. Suffering isn't suffering, it's just a silly notion in your head that it feels bad to have a fucking goddamn sword shoved up your ass. No, it's not a silly notion.